Welcome to Go Tell Mom. I'm Dianna Kelly. My co-host is Sheri Waltz, and we're moms and educators who enjoy guiding young lives, not just those of our own kids and our own fur babies. We're not psychologists or doctors, but we do know how to dig up advice from those who are, and that's what we'll share with you. If you have something to share with us, remarks, questions, tales of your own adventures in parenting, please leave us a comment on our website or our Facebook page. Remember when we thought working from home meant coffee and pajamas and never having to wear a pantsuit again? Yeah. And then it turned into back-to-back Zoom calls, mystery snack breaks, and realizing you haven't gone outside in 36 hours. And that's before you factor in the kids. Staying on top of the workload when you're a parent working from home is not an easy juggling act. It's so simple to think, I can knock this project out before I pick up the kids. But then something interrupts the action, like a delivery or a call from school, or your up till now blissfully quiet fur babies deciding it's the perfect time to bark furiously at a leaf that dared tumble in your yard for an hour. How do you get work from home to work for you? Or does it? Research out of Stanford shows remote workers are often more productive, but they also work longer hours. Harvard Business Review has reported higher burnout when boundaries blur. So, yes, we're efficient, but are we okay? I liked the idea that this is when my work part of the day starts and this is where it ends. It made it easy to close the door and not feel guilty about focusing on my family and interests that made me feel like a person. Dr. Kathleen Clerkin from Candid.com says you need to set boundaries when home is your workplace, like creating a transition routine when you start your work shift and when you end it. You do not work in your pajamas because it makes you think more like laundry day, not work day. Besides, then it's harder to stay comfortable in those pajamas when you're not working. Pull a Mr. Rogers, change your shoes and your jacket when you're in work mode, and ditch the shoes for sneakers and a cardigan sweater when you're back in at-home mode. Have a shutdown ritual. You also need a dedicated workspace, one that you don't use as a space to fold laundry or have the kids play with their friends. The guest room my son usually uses when he visits has, unfortunately for him, become my dedicated workspace. The more work I bring home, the more I encroached on what was originally a charming little space dominated by a bed. He only whines a little because he only stays there about 4 days a year. A computer, an editor, a microphone, all part of my workspace. Clerkin says use tech to your advantage in your home office. Block time off on your calendar for focused work. Close other apps during this time and let others know that you are not available. Use the schedule send option to write emails when it works best for you and send them when it works best for the recipient. Heck, use an alarm app to let yourself know when the day is done. It's important to detach from your work. It helps you sleep, it lowers your stress level, and it improves your mood. And let's face it, it staves off burnout. Try exercising, socializing, working on a hobby with your kids to separate your non-work time from your work time. It gets you back in the world again. Personally, I missed people when COVID hit. Coworkers, people who actually gave a damn if I was there, or at least I hoped they did. Data from Gallup shows many remote workers struggle more with feeling connected to coworkers, and I can believe that. So today on Go Tell Mom, Sheri Waltz and I are diving into real-life hacks. You know, we're talking about the stuff that actually works, the stuff that doesn't, and the things nobody admits they do when they're working. Not that that really applies to either of us. Yeah. Okay, so let's do a confession round here. Do you ever answer email in your car?
I will say yes. However, I watch a lot more TikTok in my car than I probably should. I try not to do too much work in my car, but no, I answer emails all the time. So I'm too connected. That is one place where I struggle with boundaries, and I will talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
But I do check email all the time.
Have you ever muted and yelled at your kids?
Yes.
Yes, guilty as charged. Yeah.
Or muted because of the dog.
Yes, more like the dog, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, how about, have you ever done laundry during a staff meeting?
Yes.
Yep.
Or cooked breakfast.
Yep.
Or eaten. Or...
Yep. I think we're all kind of guilty of that. We're multitasking.
Yes.
We're talented people. We can do that.
Yes.
Or at least that's what we're telling ourselves. So, question, do you think that working from home is a good thing in terms of your balance of work and life?
So I would say pre-COVID, my thoughts were very different. So pre-COVID, I was very much anti-working from home.
Yeah, me
my
too.
kids were also younger, but I really struggled personally with taking work home and finding that balance. I really couldn't.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like I was either at work doing work or I went home and I did none.
That was exactly my viewpoint.
Yeah, and then COVID happened and there was no choice.
Yeah.
And so I did really learn how to work from home and have boundaries and be able to make it effective for me and my family. And so I think if COVID never had happened, I would still never work from home. Like I would just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But because it happened and I managed and we all learned how to deal with that.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable and confident doing it. Mm-hmm.
When you talk about boundaries, where do you draw the line for okay, this is work time, this is home time?
So again, it kind of has morphed and changed. So when COVID happened, I literally at 4:30 would shut down the computer and turn it off. So even though I was still, teaching classes and doing all things, I refused to do anything past that time because I felt like, again, I was at home all day. And so although I was home all day, we weren't leaving the house. We weren't doing a lot of stuff. It was, during that initial time. And so I was just like, well, from, 9 to 4:30, I would just be on the computer. I would be doing work or doing laundry or other things, but I would be focusing on work and doing that. But at 4:30, I would stop and I would end it and I would not look at it again.
Yeah.
And that really helped because it was all work from home. And
we were all going, well, except for I was here.
Yeah.
during that. But I wasn't seeing anybody, which is really, really, especially since I had just started working here at Ball State during the beginning of, before the complete lockdown. And all of a sudden it's like, nobody's coming on campus except Dianna, who has to run the radio station, and it almost felt like an eerie experience coming in, and what's normally a thriving campus is a ghost town.
Yes.
Really, really weird. So I kind of had the reverse of everybody else. I was like, oh, please come back. Oh, please come back. Oh, please come back. Whereas other people I know were very happy to be working from home. It almost took some pressure off of them for some reason. Now, for me, it put pressure on when I was like during the ice storms or things like that. I would be thinking to myself, okay, I've got to keep up to snuff on this. And it just seemed like making sure that I was doing work made me a little bit more tense than if I was here.
Okay.
And, I knew that if I was rendering a video or something like that, which takes time, I can, and I would multitask, but I would do something like go down the hall and get some water or come back to my desk or whatever. And I wouldn't do that at home. At home, I would feel like I have to do everything that was work oriented during that 9 to 4 or 8 to 4:30 space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was...
I definitely don't think, like, the COVID experience did also tell me that I don't think I ever want a job where it's fully remote.
Yeah.
I don't think I thrived in that situation. I think I certainly learned a lot of skills that I think now are very beneficial. So, like, in terms of me managing my time and getting work done at home.
Yep.
And actually getting the work done so I don't stress about, I have this grading to do, but I go home and I don't do it, so I'm just as stressed the next day. Like, I'm able to make plans to do my home stuff, to do my nighttime, stuff. So for me personally, it's usually I get home and then I don't do anything through dinner. I have dinner, I put everything away, and then I usually, that last hour or two, I usually try to prep for the next day.
Yeah.
It makes a world of difference for me, and so it allows me to do some of that. But I don't think I ever want to go back to being fully remote. I do, but I do like not having to be at work every day. Like I do enjoy that. Like I can like during the ice storm, when we had internet, we could.
That's right.
We could do some work and we could do some things, some stuff like that. So it was good. It was nice to have that flexibility. But I don't think I would want to go back to fully remote.
No. I like people. I mean, it's nice to know that if I keeled over, there'd be somebody that would notice, the lump in the middle of the hallway there, So I prefer to be in a situation where I'm dealing with people pretty regularly. Yeah. But the boundaries thing is where, I think we all run into a roadblock or our own boundaries against boundaries. It's like, well, I really should get this done. So you're spending an extra 45 minutes, an hour, maybe more, finishing a project that if you were at work, you'd say, gotta wait till tomorrow. I'm out the door.
Yeah, I don't know, but it kind of bounces back and forth, because like for me, now that we have a single email, so all of our school and regular emails go to the one email, which is very nice, and so I can quickly check. Like when it dings, I'll know a student needs help, a student doesn't. Whereas before, when we had to log into the system to get the email, I was always stressed out. Like, I got to log in, and it's a pain to log in on your phone. It's a pain to log in on the computer when you're not at work. It's just, and it was always such a headache. So I feel like, on one hand, it has blurred the lines a little bit, because now, I get up at 2:00 in the morning when my husband goes to work, and I'll check my email and I'll see if a student has responded, has asked a question or something, and I'll respond to them.
Or your podcasting partner sent you a script.
Yeah, exactly. I'll respond to it. But so I feel like that has kind of blurred a little bit. But I feel on the flip side, it has released a lot of stress.
Yeah.
A lot of this whole like I gotta check, I gotta be there for my students, I gotta check, and I don't feel that at all anymore. I'm just like, oh, I don't log in to eLearn every day anymore, honestly.
Right.
I don't. I just log in when I need to do something. If not, the emails come to my phone. And so, on one hand, it blurred the boundary a little bit, I feel, because I'm doing work on times of the day that I wouldn't necessarily do it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I think it's really helped my stress levels.
Yeah. Well,
so
that's good.
It's a give and a take.
That's good.
I think it's a give and a take.
Now, it's funny because I was reading something from Candid.com talking about how if you set boundaries, like when you get home, you change your shoes or your outfit or all that. My friend Beverly does that. I mean, she gets home, she puts on her pajamas.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, and she puts on her fuzzy slippers, and she sits down in her chair, and she's either crocheting or doing something, which is all you.
Yes.
I know. I have such talented friends. You wonder what happened to me. But that, to me, I think is a great way of
release stress.
For me, I grab my leashes and I take my dogs out, and by the time I get back, I'm not thinking about work. I'm thinking about, okay, do I want to reheat this, or this?
Yeah, sometimes my husband will come home and he'll be like, oh, I guess we're not going anywhere. I'm like, I can change again. It wasn't difficult to change out of my clothes. I can change again. But I'm always like, first thing I do when I walk in the door, shoes are off and pajamas are on.
Yeah, good plan.
I know, it's a good plan. I'm like, most of the time we don't go anywhere, so it's a really good plan. But I'm like, if you want to go somewhere, I'll change.
So what tech stuff have you come up with at home to make it easier to have your home office work efficiently? I mean, are there any programs that you've added since? I
haven't really. One that I wish was around when my kids were younger is they have that, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a community like calendar that it looks like a picture frame. And I was like, oh my God, where was that when I should have made that. I should have created that thing, because that would have been so beneficial to have something like that. But now that the kids are grown and it's kind of on my own time, the only thing I've done is I've taken over one of my kids' bedrooms, and now it is a dedicated office.
Yeah.
So I do have, a hideaway bed in there, but it's really just the office. So I have the computer and the printer, and my son-in-law just got me a better second monitor because he was laughing at what I had set up before. But in terms of tech, I don't know. I don't really use it, because I do still really try to do most of my work
at work. Yeah.
And at home, it will be just the added stuff, the stuff that like all my grading and stuff I try to always do at work. But like right now, like I have a new class, a 10-week class that starts next week, and I got to get the documents together, because we don't normally teach at that length, and I'm trying to move things around. Yeah. And that kind of stuff I'll do from home. But so I guess I don't really use tech. I mean, other than just my laptop, and I have a dual monitor, and I have a stand. Okay. And I have a printer.
ChatGPT.
Oh, well, of course I use that, but that's not just for work.
I know.
I mean, I use ChatGPT for everything.
Yes, I've been doing that too. And I was one of those people that was like, oh, it's going to be a fad. And I'm like, Once I started getting into it, and it helped me out, believe it or not, when I was going for my promotion, and you have to organize things a certain way. And it's like, how do I separate a PDF that's all of my classes? Yes. And it told me how to do it.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, and they asked, do you want to have this in a certain conversation? You know, do you want it to be friendly?
Yes.
And I picked friendly. You know, I was actually thinking of you when I did it, and now whenever I need a boost, I'm jumping on ChatGPT and showing them something, and they always give me a nice, friendly, hey, you know, don't get down on yourself about this because you're doing, and it would give a list of all of my recent accolades that I didn't even notice when I was getting them to do, like fix a picture or, you know, that kind of thing. And I just thought, this is kind of nice, you know.
Yes.
When you need a boost, it's there. It's a little scary.
I know, I was going to say, it's got its own issues, but I certainly love it. I'll tell you, during that ice storm, ChatGPT helped feed me because we had lost all of our stuff in the refrigerator. All I had was dry goods, and I'm like, okay, this is what I have. What can I make that I can eat? Yeah. You know, and it was fabulous. I use it more for personal, though, than I will say that I do for work-related.
They say most Americans do, that it's only like maybe 10% of ChatGPT use is at work. Yeah. But I haven't found a use for it as much as I would like to. But. Yeah. Well, sometimes they can restructure something for you, or at least get you thinking, have you thought about this? Yes. And I'm like, no, I have not.
What is your setup at your home office? What do you have?
I've got my computer, and I've got editors and all that other stuff. And my poor son, when he came at Christmas time, I said to him, look, when you graduate, come live with your mom for a while. He's like, Mom, you know how small that room is. And I'm like, and he said, and all of your equipment's in there. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I'm so sorry. You know, but the bed's comfortable, isn't it? It's terrible. But on the other hand, the soundproofing's great because everything's so packed in there. Oh, it's awful. But yeah, I mean, you do what you can when you're setting up a home office. You really should make it feel like an office, though, because otherwise it's going to be the place where you stash your hobby stuff, or, you know, and I do that. Because I'm really into pictures, and I'll go through albums. I used to take all these pictures of the kids when they were little, and everything's kind of blurry and all that, and I'd throw them into ChatGPT.
Oh, yes.
Can you unfuzz this, please? And it's been pretty accurate most of the time. Yes. Every once in a while, I'm like, whose face is that? Because I don't recognize it.
Oh, I have this one hockey picture of my husband. He wants it so bad. And I've thrown it through ChatGPT so many times, and every time it makes his face look awful. And I'm just like, I'll have to find a different editing software, because it was taken. He plays ice hockey, and it was taken through the glass, so it has all the smears on the glass for ice hockey. And I was like, I don't know it. But then other times it does great. I gave it this nature picture. I'm like, I'll cut out all the people, and it did, and it was great. Yeah. So sometimes it's really good, and other times it's just not that great. Yeah. It's not that great.
I had a really cute one of my 2 dogs that we had the last about 5-6 years ago. Okay. 7 years ago, and they were really, really cute, but there was like a sliding glass door, so there was a big line between the 2 of them, and they were sunbathing out on the deck. So I said, can you get rid of that line there? And it looked great. It's like, oh, now I've got this really adorable picture of the 2 of them to remember them by. So
sometimes it does great, but I don't have much set up in my office. It's just an office, but it is just dedicated to an office, because when we were in COVID, and my kids were home, I was at the dining room table. The kids had their bedrooms, and that was rough. It was definitely it was rough. It was rough on my butt, because those dining room table chairs are not meant to be sat in for 8 hours a day, and it was really rough. But of course, during that time, you couldn't get office chairs. Like all this, like everything was sold out, like everywhere for all that kind of stuff.
Unless you go to Goodwill.
Well, yeah.
I have a very comfortable $15 office chair that I got at Goodwill.
Smart. I didn't
and it's kind of like these.
Oh, yeah, that would have been nice. Because eventually, by the time the kids went back to school in August, we had gotten them new office chairs because of the whole thing. Yeah. But mine took a little longer to get, but I didn't think about that. But I was just like, that kitchen table. I mean, it was fine, but it was out in the open. People could walk by. Yeah. It just wasn't.
It's begging for interruption there. Yes. And it's so easy when you're in a place that is not an office space to think, oh, I really should be running the dishwasher. Or, there's that load of laundry I should be doing.
Yes.
And the dog just threw up over that pillow because they're very stressed out because I'm not paying attention to them. I'm working, So there's that kind of stuff, too, that's going on.
Yeah.
And you need to have a space that's just...
Yes.
Of course, when I am upstairs, I have one dog that can climb stairs and the other one cannot.
Oh.
And he's the downstairs dog it will be very patient for about an hour.
Oh, okay.
When hour 2 rolls around going into hour 3, then all of a sudden he's barking at nothing, and he realizes his brother's upstairs.
Yes.
With mom. So, there's that little problem there. And I imagine it's probably like that with little kids too, when you've got one kid that's coming in from school or whatever, and the other kid's up talking to you, and you get that kind of barking downstairs thing going on.
Yeah, well, I was definitely fortunate that I had dedicated space. I did see
Yeah.
a lot on Pinterest and TikTok about people converting their closet space into office space.
I
and
would be
things like
claustrophobic.
that. I would too, but in a lot of homes
Needs must.
there wasn't the option, right? And so I did see a lot of people trying to make it work. So I was very privileged and blessed that I had that we had this space, especially once the kids left to go back to college. That made a huge difference. But, I don't know. I like working from home. It's not as daunting as it used to be. I just don't want to do it every day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're a people person, so I think it's hard for people persons to be, and they've done studies that have said that it's really hard for people to connect with their coworkers when they're working from home.
Oh, I can see it.
I can see it. Although I do think, and it's funny because when Zoom first came out and everybody was Zooming, they're like, oh, there's a big difference. It's a huge, and I'm like, really? Because I could spend an hour on the phone with somebody and I wouldn't be able to see their face, but with Zoom I can.
Yeah.
So you can have a conversation if you really wanted to with a colleague or discussing a point or an idea or whatever and still feel like you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Although face-to-face does work better, I think, that way. Anyway, so working from home is not going away. We've kind of figured that out. Maybe it's less about mastering it and more about managing it in a way that protects your sanity. And of course your family too.
Definitely.
I'm Dianna Kelly, she's Sheri Waltz, and this is Go Tell Mom. Thanks for joining us with Go Tell Mom, where we chew on stuff you talk about with your own mom. Or maybe not. If there's something you want brought up in this forum, something that you want to add, comment on our website or our Facebook page. And see you next time with Go Tell Mom.